Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here. Ladies and gentlemen, happy that you are listening. It's Tuesday, March 26th, 2024. In case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. Markets, the economy, jobs, unemployment, the Morlocks in D.C., and everything else under the sun. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we will post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our Twitter feed, which is now X. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. Just go there and put our name in. And if you email me, just be nice. No, really. All you got to do is be nice. It's pretty simple. And, of course, we'll post everything on the podcast apps, so you can check us out in many areas. We have been deciding on doing a YouTube with the show, and we'll let you know soon enough. It doesn't really add too much as far as our work, but we are definitively thinking about. We can show you things as we do the show. This morning at 6 a.m., I woke up, and as usual, the first thing I say when I wake up to my dog, Winston, yo, bro, what's happening? Because Winston, every day I wake up, somehow ends up cuddled next to my right leg on the outer part between the knee and the ankle. He loves. I don't know what I did to deserve this. I don't know what I did to earn it, but he loves cuddling up against me. I turn on the TV, and the first thing I see is a bridge collapsing in the nighttime. And I'm thinking to myself, what movie is this? And then I looked and said, wait a minute. That's News Channel. That's Fox News Channel. What's going on here? And in case you haven't heard, the Key Bridge in Baltimore collapsed when a freighter looks like they lost all power and hit into, I guess, what you can call one of the pillars that holds it up. And the bridge collapsed. As of now, 6 people are missing. I think they were workers on the bridge. 2 people were saved from the water. And as usual, our first responders, those heroes, are in the freezing water trying to find. And they're hoping to find people alive. But every minute that goes by is a bad minute. I've been on that bridge, I'm going to say 20 times. I don't live there. The only reason I've been there 20 times, I used to have offices there many years ago. And whenever you drive from New York and back, you end up going on it. And just our thoughts and prayers go out. You know? Wow. And there'll be a postmortem on it, what's going on with the bridge, and how a tanker that hit, or whatever it was, hit it, and have the ability to knock down the whole bridge. I mean, you would think throughout the years that they realized that these big whatever ships are going through, and that you never know if there's going to be an accident. You would think they were solidified, so we'll find out in time. And I gather at this point in time, every other bridge around the country, in every city, is being looked at and thought about. And again, just our hope that they find alive, but every minute that goes by. Anyway, just wow. And that basically was today in the news. The video just rates a big wow. And the president came out and said whatever it costs to get that back up. I mean, the other story is the traffic around there is going to be hellacious, but that pales in comparison to those that look like they have lost their lives. And segue we must, ladies and gentlemen. as we head into the 4-day weekend, a 3-day weekend, 4-day week. For those that celebrate, enjoy. Passover, I think, is in 2 weeks, somewhere around there. Haven't looked just yet, but I know when it comes because we just know. And again, we segue. Now, a few things I want to bring up, and they're very important. First and foremost is what we've said to you in the last day. And it's the protection of capital when things are a little bit, we'll call them goofy. And what do we mean by goofy is when price gets so out of line to what price really should be. And we always use the same terminology in the markets that no matter what, eventually valuations will matter. In the short runs, anything's possible. And in the short run, I mean, things can go to price that are unimaginable. You never know which and where. We've seen it in different entities through the years. But our job really is to tell you, we're not telling you to buy, sell, short, or cover. We're not telling you that whatever's already moved up crazy doesn't double crazy and triple crazy. Just, if it turns, be ready, be smart. Don't just sit there. Don't be the last one in. We mentioned to you a couple of these IPOs that just came out. We mentioned to you Donald Trump's merged company. And as we stated to you on these IPOs, one was ALAB. And our point is we don't know where it's going to end up. Our point is the fact that it was 95 today and closed at 83, down, 13% from the high. That's not the point we're trying to make because we don't know if it's going to gap up $20 tomorrow. So we're not trying to tell you what's going to happen in the near term. We're just letting you know you really have to look in to the fact that you have a company with $13 billion in market cap, meaning if you bought out the company today, you're paying $13 billion, even though they have only $100 million in revenues. Now, we've also seen in the past biotechs bought out for $3 or $4 billion that have no sales. And we don't understand that, but there's big bets going on. If a company's in stage 2 trial or stage 3, and a big drug company thinks, well, if this thing gets out there for sale, it's going to be big for our bottom line. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But just letting you know, just be careful. Just be on your watch. The Trump thing, it's down from today's high. 27% from the opening high today. It opened right near 80. It's under 58 right now. And again, we're not telling you it's not going to 100 tomorrow or even 200. Or what have you. We just know eventually. And this is not a political statement at all. Take politics completely out of it. Because if I think it's going to 200, I'll buy it. But you have a merged company that is ridiculously valued versus the business and ridiculously valued versus the money losses, the losses in the company. And I think I may have said it yesterday. I think I said it's probably worth $20, maybe 15 or 10. And it doesn't mean you're going to get to 15 or 10 because price is based on what people are willing to pay. We just urge you guys doing a little homework. Don't believe a word we say or anybody else. Do your homework. I saw somebody on TV today that was bearish on Bitcoin 8 weeks ago saying it's going to 200,000. I saw that. Why would they do that? Well, because it's already up a lot. Not caring that there's no value to it except what people are paying. And people are saying, we're buying it because there's more ETFs. That's not a reason. And maybe it goes to 200,000, but that's somebody who's losing their mind just because of price. And we don't do that. We just tell you, we're not telling you to buy, sell, short, or cover. Just know eventuality usually comes. I take that back. Always comes eventually. So just be careful. Price something. Would you go pay $200,000 for a Honda Accord? No. You'd pay $200,000 for what, Aston Martin or something? You got to know price. And now markets are fluctuating back and forth, up and down and all around, and we get that. But our first thought process for us, which means our first thought process for you, is protection of capital when all heck is breaking loose. And there's a little bit of heck breaking loose in valuation, in froth, and speculation. Up next, we'll continue. News of the day and the markets today. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. And let me repeat, this has nothing to do with Donald Trump or politics when I'm discussing this entity. Nothing to do with politics. Zero. It has to do with the protection of capital and paying $5 for a $1 bill. That's all. That's it. That's that. We move on. Let's see. So the NASDAQ finished down 68 today. It was up at one time today, 16,476, was up 100, I think, about 90. No biggie. What has my interest the most is that big reversal in the semis of March 8th. The reason why is because the semis are, I believe, one of the biggest, if the biggest cog in the wheel of the market, notwithstanding the fact that it's broadened out. I mean, I got to believe it or not, you may not know this, but insurance stocks have done very well. And then again, there's a reason why. Have you seen what they're charging you for auto and home insurance these days? If you're not being dropped. You see what you're paying for health insurance? That's of note, I guess. But for me, I watch NVIDIA/semis. But also, I have one screen, one column that starts with Broadcom symbol AVGO and ends with the symbol Wolf, WOLF, which is Wolf Speed. All of them semiconductors. And we have seen days where the semiconductor index, the SOX, was up 30, and 95% of the semiconductor stocks were red on the day, but 5% were up, and they were the big names. A little bit on the narrow side, which tells us to really watch the big guys. And you know what they did at the end of the day with the big guys today? They sold them off. NVIDIA was down 24 today. It's had a nice little bump back up. But I'm continuing to make note to you about how that March 8th huge gargantuan reversal in the semis on the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index has not even entered the low of that day. Last Thursday, it hit 49.83. So for the morning, that morning, it did. But the close was at 48.97. The low of the reversal was 49.57. So still something on watch. Because, and it hasn't happened, if the market loses, you know which names I'm talking about. It's something that has to be made note of. And as the NASDAQ came in, a Dow today, which was up like 150 something, I think, at one time. I'm getting my bearings here. The Dow at one time today, 39,439.14, was up 110. Finished down 31, which means the Dow in 3 days is down 500 points from its recent high, which is not the biggest of biggies. But we're watching those semis, and we're going to make big note of those. And if anything worsens, we'll let you know. But we're watching them like a hawk, and it's going to tell us a lot as we move forward. So the Dow is down 31 after being up 110, S&P down 15, almost 15. NASDAQ 68, NASDAQ 166. I told you they're up over 100. The transport's down 58, the SOX down 40. At one time today, the SOX was, 49.43? Really? It was up 50 at one time. So we'll call that a little bit of reversal. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But they distributed into it today. And still under the March 8th big, gargantuan, ugly reversal low. Also want to make note, there's some names we're following closely, like something called ARM Holdings. It was a recent IPO at a big move to the upside. Today was down 7.5% on volume. Just a rumor came out, a secondary offering's coming because a company called SoftBank owns a crap load of it. And it went from up to down 10. To tell you how temperamental the market can be. That'll be on watch too as we move forward. Just remember, while everything I'm talking about, sentiment is at its extreme bullish complacency. No bears. Short selling, nobody's betting on the downside. A lot of froth, bulls have picked up, and I only make note of sentiment when they hit extremes, and we're there. And does that mean the market have to crap out? No, because remember what I tell you. Sentiment is secondary, price is primary. We just keep it in our file manager, especially when it goes to those extremes. And of course, the other side of extreme, as I've explained to you 100 times, back in 2008, I went to the bank and took out $25,000 in cash because I was worried about the financial system. Market bottom within 2-3 months. Of course, with printed money. That's the extreme the other way. A certain somebody who said they called the bottom, even they called the bottom 15 times over a 1-year period. 2 months before the low said stay out of the market for the next 5 years. That's extreme bearishness. And the market turned. So again, that all goes into the file manager, and then we watch the market knowing that extreme. And the extreme sentiment can be in a market, an index, a sector, a country, a commodity, you name it. And we gauge it. And how do we do that? Well, there's just things we follow, and we get the numbers. As I've told you recently, we're getting calls and inquiries from people we don't know. Many of them very, very old. I got $400,000 in the CD, and I'm worried I'm missing out on this Bitcoin move. Can you tell me about it? I'm getting a call like that. Extreme sentiment. Wasn't getting those calls a year ago. I'm getting a call like that. Remember in 99 I told you I had this client, a very mild and meek doctor that I had bought Oracle for and went up like fivefold within a year's time. And I had discretion and I sold it. And this meek and mild doctor called me up F-bombing me that I sold it. And he fired me. I bought a stock that went up fivefold and he was pissed. Extreme bullish sentiment. I had a client fire me because I was only up 100%. Extreme sentiment. Up next, more on this, that, and the other thing. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
And by the way, that is a true story. I had a client fire me. I was up 100% over a 9-month period, which, by the way, she was actually right. She was mad that I wasn't up 200%. I probably should have been at that time. But imagine being fired and kind of nastily being up triple digits. Sentiment, extreme sentiment. So we got a little bit of that right now, and I don't know what it means, but I think we're a little bit on notice. And we'll stay in tune with it. We'll stay in touch with it and see how it goes. So just a rough close today. We'll see what it brings tomorrow. We are big believers. NVIDIA drives the bus of the semis. And we'll watch Super Micro and ARM Holdings and AMD and Broadcom and Taiwan Semi and Lam Research and all those names, and we'll see how it goes. But we'll call it distribution day. No biggie. Not the end of the world. But of note. Tomorrow's another day. And yeah, we're going into end of quarter, but I don't think that matters right now. Gold sitting nice and tight. Oil prices pulled back a little bit. 10-year yield pulled back a little bit. No biggie. And it's still acting okay. A move above 4.354 on the 10-year will be yelling at you. Why? Because it would be a break above range and could have repercussions, or maybe it doesn't. But whenever a range bound gets taken out on yields, the 10-year yield, we think it matters. Crypto was a non-event today for the first time in quite a while. The Bitcoin was down a little bit. And for the life of me, I plead ignorant. I have no clue why it would go up. I don't care what you hear from these tout artists on TV about why it's going up. They don't know why it's going up. Just like when it crashed, they had no idea why it was crashing. And when it crashes again, they're going to have no idea when it crashes. We'll plead ignorance here because I just don't know. We're so used to, hey, just letting you know that company was expecting to do $1.5 billion in revenues and they did $2.2 billion. They were expecting to do $1.75, they did $2.80, and that's 100% earnings growth, 80% sales growth. And part of the characteristics of bull and bear markets is that's the characteristic of potential bull market. Or on the other end, oops, the company missed estimates on sales and earnings. Revenue was down, earnings were down. It's crapping out. Of course, in a good market, you get a little bit of Teflon. We've had a bunch of companies reporting crappy numbers. Stocks still go up. Maybe the market's looking at the future. We'll see. Time shall tell, even though we're not supposed to say time shall tell. And that was the day today. Yippee yay yay. But let me repeat again. Oh, we're just going to be watching those semis really closely. And NVIDIA for starters and a few unders underneath. Reddit. I mean, I got some questions on that today, and you know how I had to answer? I don't know. And I believe it or not, I get emails from people. I answer all the questions, and people get mad. People actually get mad when I say I don't know. It's amazing to watch. Seriously. So I had some people ask about Red, and I said, I just don't know from here. It hit a high of 75 today. It closed at 65. But still up $5. But if you bought into the heat early, you're down, double digits. And when people ask, I just don't know from here. It's too new. Let it settle down. I think it's gotten a little bit frothy, crazy. And somebody said, that's your answer? And they think I'm actually going to help them out in the future with that type of attitude. And again, I've been asked about Reddit. I don't know near term. At 75 this morning, I couldn't tell you it finished at 65. It could have finished at 85. I just think also another name that's a little bit up there and a little bit frothy. And again, we'll see what tomorrow brings. I can tell you who's frothing at the mouth, though, and that is the investment bankers saying, ooh, here's an IPO working. Let's do another and another and another and another, and let's do it at ridiculous valuation so we'll screw every person that buys in the aftermarket. We'll make our fees, and we're not going to worry about it because eventually it'll come around again. We'll do a lot more IPOs, and we don't care what price they come out with as long as the fish buy or the fish bite. So there's your Reddit. And I've yet to do a deep dive on, I know what the company is, I know what they do. I've yet to do a deep dive on it, where they're trying to go with it. They made some statements and all that fun stuff. I don't have a great feel, but we'll try to get a hold of it and figure it out. And as always, close our eyes, hold our nose, and pray. Little bit in the news. Hey, Robert Kennedy picked a vice presidential candidate. Her name's Nicole Shanahan. Okay. I'm Googling her as I speak. Why do I think she was married to one of the Google executives? She donated $4 million to his campaign. Yeah, he's not a politician. I'll give you $4 million. You pick me vice president. That's amazing. By the way, I just looked that up. That's amazing. I had no idea. Sergey Brin. She was married to Sergey Brin of Google. And they have a daughter. I'm looking at what she's done for a living to earn a vice president spot. A lot more than the other vice presidents. Anyway, in case you don't know, he's going to matter. I'm not sure in which way he matters. There's a lot of Democrats all worried that he's going to pull votes from the Democratic side. I'm not so sure he's not going to pull votes from both sides. I've yet to listen to him. The reason why I listened to him in the past, I thought he was a nut job. And he lies like everybody else too. He was total anti-vax, and he says, I never said that. Anyway, that's Robert Kennedy. And by the way, the Kennedys hate him. Don't you love families? If you don't completely agree, we hate you. In fact, the Kennedys are like kicking them in the you-know-whats. And that is all. A little bit of Robert Kennedy. He will not win the presidency. But again, he may have, in case you don't know, look up Ross Perot. Go look that up and see what happened in that election. This is going to be a fun, what are we entering April? April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 7 months and change. Oh, boy. And I'm so depressed. I hear there's not going to be no debates. Whoever says no to debates is a wimp. That would be one guy on the Republican side and another guy on the Democrat side. Oh, they're both running for the presidency in November. My take. I've been reading how great the rest of the year is going to be in the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. I've been reading that. People have been stating that because this happened, that's going to happen. Because it's an election year. Because of this, that, and the other thing. We have a better way of doing things. We're going to watch the market. It'll give us every darn clue we need. Those who believe they know where things are going to be 6 months from now, God bless them. I can promise you by November, election time, stocks that were great today will be crappy then. Stocks that are crappy now will be great then. And if the market wants to drop 20%, it's going to do it regardless of an election year. We want you to remember that. We'll keep you posted. Much more up next on this, the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
Ba-da-da. Da-da-da. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. The highest grossing chain restaurant in America is the Cheesecake Factory. It's 206 locations, average a gross of $12.8 million per restaurant. I get it. Where was I, in Raleigh? Went to a Cheesecake Factory, 2-hour waits on a Saturday at noon. It's at the Mall Millennia in Orlando, Cheesecake Factory, a couple of months back, packed. Just took out, I give scholarships to a couple of lovely girls for private school. Took the family out to Cheesecake Factory in Winter Park, Florida recently. It was a weekday, I believe it was a Monday, at 6 p.m. It was busy. A Monday at 6 p.m. Busy. I get it. But I will tell you this, and this is true, because these are the things I notice. My Bang Bang chicken and shrimp, which I get every time I go to Cheesecake Factory, I'm going to say the amount of food on the plate was about 3/4 of the normal when I went there about 10 days ago. Or was it a week ago? So there's shrinkflation at the Cheesecake Factory. And I gather that's going on in many a place. You're getting less for the same price. I did not order a cheesecake afterwards, but I can tell you the size of the slices were less than I've seen in the past. Shrinkflation, even on the cheesecake. No, not kidding. By the way, that's not a rub on Cheesecake Factory. I believe it's on everything. The party bags of chips at the supermarket are no longer party bags. The mid-size bags look like the regular size bags now for the same price. That's going on. Just letting you know. And I gather it's probably here to stay. Have you seen the price of cocoa? Don't know if you know this, but cocoa looks like the Eiffel Tower. Not kidding. Moonshot. Cocoa. Is it any wonder Hershey's, the stock, quite the bear market? So a lot going on in the food world. And of course, the president, who has an excuse a minute, it's the supermarket's fault. Yeah, supermarket's fault that has like a 2% margin and is at the mercy of all the companies. Has nothing to do with the supermarket. Dummies. Biden's blamed the food companies. It's all their fault they're doing the shrinkflation. Oh, it has nothing to do with the fact that it costs more to produce and deliver and make and get. It's just like what they're doing in California now. These morons. Hey, you know those high school people you have in your places of fast food? You're now going to pay them $20 an hour. One idiot in California wanted $50 an hour. Yuts. So what's to do? Oh, you know what they're doing? They're either raising prices or they're canning some people. Dummies. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction when it comes to cost and expenses and life in general. And when the dictate comes from up high, from people that have never been in the business world and have zero clue, like a Bernie Sanders who's been living off you and me his whole life, never been in the business world, telling us you should only work 32 hours. Guarantee your failure. While people who work many hours pass you by like you're standing still. And you want to know where I get my anger from? These people have a vote on our future. It nauseates. Speaking of that, Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is increasing max price in stores to $7. Just letting you know. They were already at $1.50, so it should have been $1.50 tree. It's now $7. For whatever reason. I guess they realized they got some rich people going in there. I love the dollar stores. So you can sell more things. Why not? In the news, well, here you go again. New York police shot, dead, killed a career criminal, 21 prior arrests. Isn't that nice? It takes 21 arrests and you just let them out again. By the way, these arrests were not just for shoplifting. Repeatedly jailed for violent offenses and was arrested on a gun charge as recently as April of last year. A 31-year-old police officer that does one thing and one thing only on his job: protect, murdered, wife and kids, let out 21 times. I'm looking at a picture of the man. Oh, he was shot by the police, but he's going to live. How about some Russian justice? Would that be mean? You see what Russia did to some of these terrorists? Like, actually, all of them? Is that mean, saying we should have some Russia justice for these murderers? Just another one. They just arrested somebody who threw somebody onto the subway, onto the train, and killed the person. Was arrested 34 times. By the way, only 3 stations from where my son lives. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. It has everything to do with you. Hope you get it. You have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Very simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better, I promise. Stay away from the weed. It's overrated. Alcohol sucks. Drive carefully. Thanks for joining. Same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.